Well, a very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming to this very special session here at Saudi House in Davos. My name is Faisal Abbas. I'm the editor-in-chief of a Saudi newspaper called Arab News, which has been contributing to the quality of life in Saudi Arabia since 1975. I'm delighted to be your host for this afternoon, and I am super delighted to be accompanied by Her Royal Highness Princess Rima and His Excellency Minister Ahmed Al Khatib to talk a little bit about innovation and quality of life. As a political newspaper editor, we don't get to talk enough about these topics, and sometimes we get distracted by the doom and gloom, which is why in the green room we were talking about how important it is for us to highlight this topic in a venue like this. So without further ado, allow me to jump straight in. Your Royal Highness, ladies first, most people know you as the Saudi ambassador to Washington. Very few know that you had a very active contribution to the Quality of Life program, which His Excellency chairs. This is back when, more than 6 years ago, when you were in the kingdom. Could you very briefly give us a bit of a background as a scene setter for this conversation about your involvement in the program?
Well, I had the privilege under His Excellency to lead the Executive Committee of the Quality of Life program, where we were looking at the quality of life for a citizen, a resident, and a visitor to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And if I could give you one moment that I knew the change that we hoped for and aspired for was real, His Excellency gathered us all in a room representing all of the various entities from government that would have an impact under the quality of life to have a conversation. And he asked for feedback. And I remember I asked him, I said, Your Excellency, everything we just saw on that screen, it can only be true for the whole population if a woman no longer needs to ask for the right to do something and participate, and if she can get herself to where she wants to be. And he looked and he said, put that in the minutes of meeting. And I was like, oh my God, this is real. This change that we were hoping for, that we were aspiring for, was real. And the voice of the woman and the cause of equity in the kingdom for women was real. And from then, what I can tell you is the resident, the citizen, the visitor included the woman. And that is why you see quality of life in the kingdom having such an impact. And what are we talking about? We're talking about livability versus lifestyle. And we had livability in Saudi. Schools were great, roads were great, hospitals were great, but the lifestyle part was missing. And what the question we asked ourselves is, what does this country want? We want it rooted in our identity, rooted in our culture, rooted in our heritage. But we want it to be the place when someone wakes up and says, I'm so happy to live here. Or, I can't wait to visit there. Or, what a pleasure it is to work here. And what I feel His Excellency has been able to do, not just through the Quality of Life program, but then translating it into tourism, and then all of the entities that worked with us to deliver, whether it was healthcare, whether it was entertainment, whether it was sports, whether it's tourism, whether it's in education, all of the things that needed to come together, Ministry of Interior, road laws, mobility. It's unbelievable, the web, green spaces. If the Ministry of Health wanted to reduce obesity, it involved the Ministry of Interior for green spaces. It involved the Ministry of Sports for sports activities. It involved the Ministry of Education for after-school activities. The Quality of Life program was almost like a pool. You place your goals and you want to hit it in, but you have to hit so many balls and everything has to work together to win the game. And the beauty of the way His Excellency constructed this was creating the interdependencies. And frankly, the challenge was, if an entity couldn't deliver on the business case it presented, that whole business case with its budget went elsewhere. So it was a little bit of the Hunger Games. So everyone was like, I'm not going to lose my budget. I'm not going to lose my ability to deliver this program and this project that I want. And what we did as part of the executive committee was work across each of the entities to say, how can we help you? And what His Excellency also did as a sensational job was, with the vision realization programs that every ministry had attached to it, we worked through them and helped entity by entity deliver on the promise and the proposition. And another sensational moment that I recall was we were asked to create what was called the Future Studio, where we brought futurists to come in and speak to and study the business cases of every single one of the ministries and say, will this actually get us to where we want to go? Have we designed something that's practical to deliver, not just dreams? Because you can have aspirations, and yes, we have a vision. But ladies and gentlemen, that vision is tied to KPIs, it's tied to key metrics, and it's tied to deliverables. And what we've heard from all of the ministers from yesterday, and you'll hear this all the way through, our credibility as the kingdom comes on our ability to deliver. And I will tell you, the Quality of Life program has delivered. It's delivered for citizens, it's delivered for residents, and it's delivered for visitors. But it's not done, because quality of life as an aspiration depends upon the needs of the society and the community. And now we are at the phase where we've built it, we've created the frameworks, we've done our initial delivery, and now it's about listening to this next generation and saying, and you, what do you want now that we've opened all of these doors, that we've created the interconnected systems that can receive your demand and now deliver on it? And that's why I will tell you, one of the happiest and proudest moments of my life was working with His Excellency on the Quality of Life program. And as an ambassador now, receiving and seeing all of these changes and being able to talk about it thrills me, because the program is still going, because the needs are always changing. And young people will always have a different ask and a different need, and our ability to be reactive for them is just, it is key and core, not just to 2030 continuing to be a success, but leading into 2040, 2050 and beyond.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Princess Rima. That was a fantastic introduction. Definitely sets the scene for my follow-up question to His Excellency, who also wears many hats. I mean, most people in the audience or around the world, especially tourists, would know you as the Minister of Tourism in Saudi Arabia. But obviously, we've had the pleasure to work in different capacities. And I do have a personal question about your own quality of life managing all of these different portfolios with no faults, but we'll get to that later. Look, researching with the team for this panel, correct me if I'm wrong, it does look like we are pioneering something that not many other countries, if any, have similar to. Could you kindly explain what is the Quality of Life program, and is it modeled behind any other countries, or are other countries modeling now behind the Saudi program?
First of all, good afternoon. Thank you, Faisal. Your Royal Highness, it is the teamwork. You know, you gave me the credit now. It's a team work. We created it together. We learned, improved, and then established a destination or a vision. And then from there, we started to work to address what we called quality of life. We created the name or this title, Quality of Life, because I remember when we first time started Quality of Life program back in 2017, we started to think about what is the city that I want to live in. And the question was so complicated. For a younger generation, they have their needs, and for older generations, they have a different needs. Cities used to be designed for residents in the 40s, 30s, and 50s. Today, for example, Athens receive 4 times of their residents as tourists every year. For the cities of today and the future should be designed to cater for both residents and visitors. And therefore, you know, and some cities like London and Paris, and it's very difficult to change it or to, because it carries a lot of history and heritage where you want to protect the history and heritage, but you need to think about how can I embed a better mobility in that rigid city, or a better telecommunication, or a better shopping or retail experience, better safety and security, and so on and so forth. And therefore, Faisal, we said, what what is the city that anyone would like to live in? And then we put the things that should be in any city in two categories. The first category is the infrastructure, and we call it livability. And this livability should include amazing healthcare, not just healthcare with accessibility, availability, and affordability. You know, healthcare is very expensive today. Education, same thing. Accessibility, affordability, and availability. Mobility, to move from a point A to point B, you need different options, and you need affordable options, you need safe options, and convenient options. Infrastructure, roads, and so on and so forth. Telecommunication, you want in today's life, you want to enjoy a very fast and advanced telecommunication network that help you to do what you need to do with your mobile or with your iPads and so on and so forth. And therefore, livability, infrastructure is very important, and also we call it hardware. It's important. And then what you put on top of this hardware, it's like the iPhone. When you buy the iPhone, it has less application, and then you just pick and choose and add the right application to get the maximum satisfaction for you. And for me, I might put different applications, and therefore the application we put on the hardware are the best retail experience, best food and beverage experience, best entertainment experience, and so on and so forth. And therefore, and then we painted the picture of that city, not a country. You can call it city, where you can enjoy the best quality of life. And I don't think there is a single city in the world of today can tick all the boxes. But at least we need, we've been working with the UN Habitat to define the parameters, what that city that have the best quality of life should have. And then we identify all the things that any city should have, and then we started to assess the cities. And there is big gaps, you know, big gaps today in the safety and security. Many cities now, unfortunately, lack of safety and security. And this is a very fundamental, this is basic. And then you add on top of these fundamentals what you need to do or what you need to have in order to enjoy the best quality of life. We don't know what are the cities that have the best quality of life today. However, we are announcing an index today, and this is the first time I'm talking about this, called Quality of Life Index. We've been working with UN Habitat for the last 3 years, Dr. Noura, 3 years to construct the index. And we have an agreement now with the UN Habitat to launch it. We launched it, the website is ready, cities can register, and so far 120 cities registered, and 20 plus already vetted and qualified. This index will help me and will help other people to say, okay, what is the city that have the best education for youth? And then they will select the city that have a best education. For senior people, what are the city that enjoys the best safety and security and healthcare? Because senior people will require healthcare. And then they will find the top cities. And they will decide to go and live there or retire there, and so on and so forth. And therefore, Faisal, quality of life will make our life easy. Any global resident can go to the website, look at the cities, and the cities are ranked from best quality to, let's say, I don't think cities with poor quality will register, but you will know what are the cities that can offer you the best quality of life, and then you will decide whether to retire and live there or to go and visit and enjoy those cities.
Your Excellency, you're already improving my quality of life. You already gave us the headline for tomorrow. Arab News team, headline tomorrow is going to be the launch of the index. So thank you for that.
Thank
But I wanted to ask Your Royal Highness and Your Excellency, everything and we've all been part of the journey of Vision 2030 since its inception. His Royal Highness, the Crown Prince, the vision itself is based on targets, KPIs, clear-cut deliverables. Now, you can measure GDP per capita, you can measure exports and imports, but how do you measure quality of life? What are the factors that go in? How do you know? I know you mentioned some city will be safer than another, but how does such a measurement work?
On my part, I'll leave the technical part for His Excellency, because the Quality of Life Index, by the way, is not just a Saudi initiative, it's a UN initiative. And so the ownership of the data and the content lives there. We're populating it and we are gifting it to the world. And that's one of the things that's most exciting for me. How do I measure it? I measure it on the human scale. And on the human scale, I have a living example right in front of me. The Abu Jadayil family. Sisters. An athlete who came with us to the Olympics in 2016, an artist, an illustrator, an author, a movie maker. Sisters in one family who prior to Vision 2030 would not have been able to do what they did with local recognition and local celebration. And by the way, they did this themselves. Nobody supported Keriman from a government level to be an athlete. She and her family dedicated themselves to it. But now guess what? We have 350,000 Kerimans going through school programs, going through university programs, going through federation programs. And that, to me, is the measure of success. If they didn't see her, that pipeline wouldn't exist. If they didn't see Lama Al-Fawzan, that pipeline wouldn't exist. If they didn't see Lubna, this amazing fencer who came all the way out to Brazil as a wild card, inspired every single young woman after her. And so I can tell you, because I worked at the Ministry of Sports, you cannot be what you cannot see. And what I see in the people, in the choices that they're making, in the opportunities they have, is the true measurement of Vision 2030. It is the true measurement of quality of life, whether they're the illustrators, the artists, the musicians, the actors, the filmmakers, all of the above.
Well, thank you, Your Royal Highness, and thank you for that additional piece of information about the UN. I think that is very relevant, a gift to the world indeed. And as somebody who's seen firsthand how much labor and hard work you've put into, and where we've become from a woman not participating in any sports to having almost a female division in every sport federation.
Absolutely. And globally recognized athletes, globally participating athletes. And where we may have started with wild cards, and each of those young women who had the courage to participate in that Olympics in 2016, for me, are the true heroes of all of the young female athletes, because they had to bear the pressure of being the first.
Absolutely. Your Excellency, Vision 2030 by default is a... Thank you. Yes, much deserved. Thank you. Thank you. Vision 2030 by default is an outwards-facing program. In every aspect of it, we rely heavily on subject matter experts, on experiences that have happened abroad. How does this initiative or quality of life work, and does it depend for its success on other countries?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Faisal. We have to lead in some aspects. And if you go back, Saudi Arabia introduced many services and industries and led the world and shared with the world best practices. For example, in the oil and gas industry, in the financial services industry, Saudi Arabia among the best countries when it comes to financial services, petrochemical industries, and so on and so forth, and now sport, culture, and tourism. In quality of life, as I said, we couldn't find a one single index that can tell you where to live, where to stay, what is the best city that can offer you everything you need. There are indices like the happiness index, which is a very small index, and there are indices that covers only the education, which are the best. Where do you find the best education? But there is no an index that comprehensive, covers everything. And here where we started to work with the UN Habitat Faisal and tell them, look, we have to introduce, as Her Royal Highness said, we have to give to the world a gift. We have to answer a big question, where I can stay, where I can live a better life if I'm looking for everything, not only education or healthcare or mobility or, for example, entertainment and so on and so forth. And they were convinced, they liked the idea, they adopted the idea, and they start to work with us on the index. Faisal. Saudi Arabia is leading. Saudi Arabia is giving this big gift to the world. Like, before we have introduced many new initiatives to the world in the past. I think this is one of the most impactful and important outcomes of Vision 2030. It will not only help Saudi Arabia, but it will help the world. Our cities might be, ranked in the middle, but at least we know where are the gaps and what do we need to do in order to address the gaps and then to become one of the top city to live in. And this is what we started to do when we created the Quality of Life program. Quality of Life program members are the municipality, the airports, sport, represented, used to be represented by Her Royal Highness, culture and telecommunication and so on and so forth. And we did assess Riyadh, where Riyadh stands in terms of every service, and Jeddah and Khobar and so on and so forth. And we found out the gaps. This is the vision. This is where, that the desired city to live in. And where do we stand? And this is what we need to do. And that's why we launched the Metro, Faisal. In Riyadh, we are building the biggest ever park, King Salman Park, in Riyadh, just to have something, to go and enjoy for, and it will definitely improve the quality of life in Riyadh. We added a lot of entertainment in the last 7-8 years in Riyadh, starting from the Boulevard to now Qiddiya, Six Flags, and we added a lot of culture to Riyadh. We used to have one museum. Now Dir'iyah is building 11 museums, and therefore, we are improving the retail experience, the entertainment experience, the residential experience, the hospitality experience. We used to have one Four Seasons for 3 decades. Now we have 11 Four Seasons under construction, and this will enhance the experience of the visitors coming to Riyadh. The whole transformation is led by the index and by what the UN Habitat advised us to do in Riyadh and Jeddah and other cities. And therefore, we might have an advantage because we started before other cities, but definitely it helped us a lot to know the gaps and to know what we need to do, where to put our money, where to invest in order to provide the best experience. We said experience. We're not talking about the best retail or best hospitality or best education, best experience. And experience include all the above for the residents and for the tourists.
And I just want to say, to your credit, Your Excellency, all of this and the Ministry of Tourism still manages to achieve a target for 2030, 7 years in advance, 100 million tourists in 2023.
Absolutely.
So my last question to Your Royal Highness, researching this panel, And you know how algorithms work. So I got a lot of notifications about rings you can wear, download apps you can download, things telling me how I need to take care of myself. The topic of the panel is called development and quality of life. To many people, including my algorithm that's spying on me, it seems only about technology, about apps, etc. Is it just about technology, and how can development go beyond applications and software?
So this is actually a conversation we started yesterday in our first panel. Technology is simply the tool to allow the individual to innovate, to allow the individual to make decisions. It is not the end-all be-all. And we have to remember, we are people, we are human beings. We have a pulse, we have a heart, we have a mind, we have a humanity. And if we focus ourselves on almost the abusive dependence on technology versus using it as a tool to make our decisions, we're going to fail as a society. And I have friends who come up to me and say, Rima, I'm optimizing my health. I'm like, that's great. What for? What are you doing this for? What is your end goal? Is it just to have a competition between I slept 5 minutes more than you, or is it because you actually understand sleep is good for your health and well-being and allows you to have a competitive edge? But the neuroses that technology can give you, by the way, is equally as bad as the lack of information. So what I would ask you to do is recognize we are human beings first. We are human beings second. We are human beings last. And the reason I am obsessed with the Quality of Life program and our goals across Vision 2030 is 2030 was built with the human being, the citizen in mind. And I think we would all be better in ourselves if we recognize AI, technology, digital, these bits and bobs that we all have are to support our ability to live well. They are not the competitive goal that we need to be competing with each other against. It's simply information to help us deliver. In the same way, the index is information to help us do better. We're not competing to be the best. We're competing to make ourselves better for ourselves. Should that make us number one? Amazing. But the goal isn't to be number one. The goal is to be the best at what we do for who we are, for who we serve, for where we are. And so human-centric is the goal. The tool is technology.
Thank you, Princess Rima. Yes. As a journalist and a moderator, I'm very sad that this very interesting discussion has to come to an end. But as a Saudi citizen, I cannot be happier. And thank you from the bottom of my heart for putting my well-being as a citizen, our population's well-being, into your very busy agenda. And I think I can speak for everybody in the room. We're all going to leave with a little bit more positivity, thanks to both of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.